Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Hair Tissue Mineral Analysis. I'm so glad that you have decided to join me. I made this page a separate page because I thought it really warranted, just turning the volume down on my phone, I thought it really warranted having its own page because it's such an important tool in my tool bag or my medicine bag, however you choose to call it. This is a test I'm going to be showing you that I have permission to share with you. But in addition to all of the great stuff that you're going to get in your hair test for such an affordable price, it's painless. You don't even have to meet with me in person. You can do it all through the mail. I mean, it's just a great deal all the way around. It's something that I really, truly wish every single person could do. One of the number one things that comes up in my 35 years of coaching is either mostly wanting to lose weight or people needing to gain weight, and they just can't gain weight no matter what. I mean, they've even tried cannabis, medical cannabis, so that they get more of an appetite. You know, we got approval for medical cannabis in the beginning because people that were going through a lot of different kinds of treatments and therapies would often lose their appetite. So when you're under stress, it's going to zap even more of what? Your energy. Your thyroid has everything to do with your energy. Now, when you get your own test, and I get a copy of your patient report to keep on file, this is a stapled copy. Not only is it going to have, the minerals, the toxic elements, and down here some of these other elements that we're going to take a look at. If you watched my last video, I talked about how someone who had opioid addiction was driven through their anxiety and depression and their low levels of energy because they were missing magnesium, copper, they had a high sodium to potassium ratio, and they had elevated levels of tin in the body. They had elevated levels of lead, and they also had some arsenic in the body. So if we work with those, which doesn't have to take a year or 5 years, that person can actually develop a stronger will to be able to overcome whatever is plaguing them. So when you get your own test, you're going to get a section of your test that deals with your metabolic type. Let's see if you can see that here. Let's see if I can hold it up so you can see it better, actually. Okay, you're going to get a metabolic type. And there are 8 different metabolic possibilities. There's a slow number 1, a slow number 2, a slow number 3, and now you're really inching towards a fast metabolism, a slow number 4, and then you're going to go into fast number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now, just like I said in my thyroid mini course, which is not on this page, but maybe I'll add it if people want to see that. It's a free mini course. It's done by video and a couple of really good handouts in there. Is that your thyroid really regulates how much energy, and in the medical terminology, energy that we call energy, E-N-E-R-G-Y, is ATP. So that particular form of energy is either going to be circulated vis-a-vis your hormones and your sleeping at night, and the food that you eat is going to be whole foods and giving you energy, or you're going to be really zapped for energy. Now, over the course of time, if you are one of the folks that didn't have any idea or were served food products, or you were, in a lot of institutional type living environments and you were given wheat, meat, and cheese and, a lot of standard American diet type foods, it starts to drain your energy dry. So then, if you're not given iodine and you're not getting some of these minerals into your body is starving for them. It's starving for energy, and you start to get some really predictable symptoms. And I want to cover just a small amount of those symptoms. So when you're a child, you could have had low body temperature. And I've done this with so many of my clients, this kind of a consultation that people go, oh my gosh, that was me. So low body temperature, they go to the doctor and they start to take their vitals, and the doctor goes, tells, or the nurse or the physician's assistant or whoever is taking your vitals, meaning your temperature, your blood pressure, etc. So they take your temperature and they go, well, you're like a 97.8. And you go, well, what does that mean? And they're like, oh, that's okay. Some people just run kind of low. And then they take your blood pressure and they put that cuff on and they squeeze it all up and it starts squeezing your arm really hard. I never really like that feeling. It's not like it hurts or anything, but I don't really like that feeling. So it just feels like all of a sudden you're squeezed really hard, and it's to gauge your blood pressure going through your arteries. And so bradycardia, which is something that does come up kind of common on the health trends here, just means that your blood pressure is lower than the optimum level. So a lot of people that didn't have energy, that started to gain weight, had blood pressure like 100 over 55 or 105 over 60, right? They're systolic. The top number was really low, and so was the bottom number compared to kind of the average of today. If I can even, I guess I could say it's the average of 120 over 80 systolic over diastolic. So your body temperature, your blood pressure, you started to get cold hands and feet, especially in the wintertime. They were just freezing all the time, like you wanted to have 2 pairs of socks, especially if you live in Northeast Minnesota where it's snowing and freezing and it has a really super long winter that people start to get really fatigued over. Let's say maybe you're not sleeping so good. So either you have type 1 or type 2 insomnia, and you either lay down and you just can't get to sleep, or you lay down and you get to sleep right away, but you wake up 1 or more times at night. And it's like, this is kind of frustrating. I got to try to go back to sleep now. That was not enough sleep for me. Or you're sleeping in your REM sleep, your eyes aren't moving, you're not dreaming. You wake up and you just say, I don't remember having any dreams. And that causes me concern too. If you're like, I go to sleep at night, but I wake up and I don't remember any dreams, then I really want to do this with you, the hair testing and the coaching, so that you'll begin to see the benefits that you'll get from this. Now, so cold hands and feet, low body temperature, low blood pressure, intolerance to cold in the wintertime, just freezing all the time. Maybe you're in California, where I come from for 42 years as a native, and it's 70 degrees and you're just freezing to death like I was, and I didn't really know, right? Getting lots and lots of weight gain, and we call this undeserved weight gain, meaning you're not sitting there stuffing your face all the time, but my gosh, it seems like every time you turn around, you feel like you've gained another 5 or 10 pounds. I mean, by the end of the week, you're just like, this is just a hopeless mess. And so it's not your fault. Like, you had no idea that your thyroid was regulating your energy, and that when you didn't have certain things, these minerals and the iodine and the things I'm talking about, your thyroid couldn't function. It couldn't give you energy and power back up again and help your metabolism that we're going to be able to identify on your hair tissue testing. So not only is this going to give you the ability to take off some of that weight and still be able to eat and not feel like you have to starve yourself, but with just a couple little tweaks that I'm going to give you on an individual basis in that 30-minute coaching, you're going to have just about everything that you need so that your body can start to normalize and find its homeostasis. It can find its way back home to feeling a desirable weight. So you don't feel like you're just carrying around all these pounds of pain. And I know what that feels like. Almost everyone in my family was very obese for quite a while. And it took me many years to figure out thyroid problems were the word of the day, like they were a big deal in my family. So your metabolism can also be offset and affect your thyroid just from stress. I have gained about 35 pounds with the stress of a family member that's been opioid addicted, because you're in the car and you're, life or death moments, and there's a lot of worry. And with that worry comes destable or unstabilized energy. So if you were at home and, la da 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 da, you go to your job, you got your rhythm, you do your business, you go to the gym or you take your walks, your life is just kind of like, I get up, I go to sleep, and the worst of my stress is that I've got an extra bill this month. You can pretty much sail on very stable energy. But if, on the other hand, something comes up like addiction, right? Alcoholism, opioid addiction, you got to file a bankruptcy, you've got to make a major geographical move, you're undergoing a massive new training at your workplace and you can't stand it, you've got super toxic coworkers and you got to really psych yourself up to go to work again tomorrow, it's going to show on your hair test. It's going to show. And if you're not giving your thyroid what I call the food, you're not feeding your thyroid gland, eventually what's going to happen is it's going to start pulling calcium from your body. So a lot of women in their 60s and 70s coach with me because they have found out through their doctors that they're having trouble with, or their hair tests, that they're having trouble with osteoporosis. I have women in their 20s and 30s that are showing up with health trends that they're aiming for osteoporosis already, thin or weak bones. The bulk of your calcium is stored in your bones and then it's released through the use of enzymes, right, and proteins. And so that calcium's got to be able to circulate, and that calcium is what helps your heart to conduct energy. So it's an electric mineral and it's very needed. So if your thyroid starts pulling that out of your bones because your minerals aren't balanced, that's going to really hurt you. So I'll show you that even on this test right here, if you look at the first one on your left, or your left side there, the Ca is calcium, and you can see it's down almost in the low, right next to the magnesium there. That is someone who's actually in a fast metabolic rate. They're a fast metabolizer right now. And they're actually a very, very thin person. They're super, super thin. So all of us that are in the slower thyroid, or what the doctors call hypothyroid, slow thyroid, we might as well just say slow and fast instead of hypo and hyper, are going to be prone to gaining and holding on to that weight. So gosh, how frustrating. Nobody wants to feel like they're fat and overweight, and chunky and thick. And, how frustrating is it? Because I know right now, having gained 35 pounds, if you look at me in my mini thyroid course, compared to now, a year and a half later, you'd be like, what the heck happened? She blew up. And I did. I gained 35 pounds with unstable energy, stress, and worry in my life because we make different choices. So if you're coming home at 11 o'clock at night and you would have normally been sleeping, you wouldn't have been eating for a couple hours before you go to sleep, but now all of a sudden you're just so stressed and you grab a pretzel on the way home at Quick Trip, or you grab a muffin, or what else could you grab? You could grab a donut, you could grab any number of things, because our jaw is a place where, just like a dog or anybody else, any other animal, it's where we release stress. So chewing is a stress releaser, especially crunchy chips release anger, and sweets give us the sweetness we were looking for. So your hair test is extremely important. And in addition, it's going to show you the foods that you should and should not be eating so you can get yourself back in balance. So I'm trying to see if I've got a good page here to kind of show you. Yeah. Here's a page to show you, where it's going over different categories of foods that you want to eat and foods that you want to avoid. Okay. So a lot of people ask me, oh my gosh, I've got this situation or I've got that situation, what should I be eating right now and what should I not be eating? Well, this report is going to cover for any type of food, whether you're keto, vegetarian, vegan, whatever it is. There's a combination of foods on here that you can turn to. So I hope this has been a help. You really don't have to just sit there and struggle with excess weight on your body. That's just no fun. It takes a toll on you. It works your organs. Extra weight on your organs is not healthy. Your doctors, I'm sure, are telling you that. If you see a doctor or not, you know yourself that that's something that just is something we don't have to deal with if we don't want to. So you can order the profile number, HTMA profile number 2 by itself for $135, or the grand opening special on this page until August 21st is $175 for the 30-minute coaching and the test, all done by mail and all done through a video coaching session. I hope this has been helpful. If you're watching this later and you did not see it live, please feel free to list any questions that you have down below, or let me know if they're private questions. And I look forward to helping you. Thank you. You have a good night.